So with that said, I want to say, Dan Byer, I apologize. I was Sam. I was wrong. Danny G, you were right. Jets stink.
They do. To the high heavens.
I thought this was going to be a statement game.
Like the great stink of 1858.
I thought this was I thought Devontae Adams was going to be like, 9 catches, 110 yards, and look at that, Aaron Rodgers, 3 hundo, 3 tutties, and no, I was dead wrong. That team is where I said I want to start today. If you're a Jets fan, can you? You don't want to put that final nail in the coffin, or that you don't want to put the stamp on yet. But can you say Aaron Rodgers, the experiment with the Jets is done? Or do you feel like, well, we got maybe one more year and maybe, It's over. It's all over. $49 million in dead cap space next year, whether he retires or not, right? Think
about both New York teams, to be honest. Terrible. But the Giants, they're in place for the first pick, so.
Can they make a trade to get Zach Wilson back?
Dude, nothing more New York Giants or Jets than when the Giants came back. We all turned that game on early yesterday, right? Because here on the West Coast, at least, it was early. So you turned on, second half, Giants are down. Giants are down. They make a sweet comeback, only to fumble on the first possession of overtime. And you're like, how weak. Anyway, the Jets. I was wrong. You guys were right. But where does that leave?
It's not that you were wrong. You created a storyline
that felt fun.
And believable.
You're very confident.
I could see that happening. I think Rich was more confident in his storyline than the actual Jets.
Like, there were times where you're like, man, this storyline would be so good.
and
the storyline ended up, I'm right. That wasn't the storyline.
Instead of having a veteran QB at the very end of his run, though, could this be like a blessing in disguise maybe for the Jets, because they could potentially get one of the best quarterbacks up at the top of the draft?
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, sometimes, again, I got to give life analogies. You got to hit rock bottom.
Now, under that scenario,
to start building all over again.
Under that scenario you speak of, Danny G, I'm sure local New York reporters and Jets people are thinking of those possibilities. Is there a world in which the Jets draft a high pick and that person sits behind one more year of Aaron Rodgers to learn, and Rodgers tries to go all out, like I won last year? Because this is not. I ain't going down like that. Do you think he's going out like that?
No, you know what? I could see that, Rich. Yeah, and if you were, I don't know, on vacation or you just woke up, the Jets, they got destroyed by the Cardinals. Yeah. It wasn't even close. 31-6. 31-6. Kyler Murray just doing what Kyler Murray does, looking good, fast, quick, and Connor hard to tackle. But again, 31-6, the Jets showing nothing. And Aaron Rodgers, you could tell he's upset. You could tell he didn't want to say the wrong things to after the game. He wanted to sit on, before he actually spoke his heart and spoke his mind, he actually took a breath, which I thought was a little refreshing and smart, because I think he would have said some things he regretted yesterday.
Good thing Robert Saleh's still there so they can fire him. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait.
Does it look like he was the problem after all, huh?
Maybe you should fire yourself.
Exactly. Thank you. That's Iowa Sam. He's on the ones and twos. Danny G, Dan Byer, Elijah's here on the videos. You could watch what you're hearing, and you can see my sweet new haircut, too. Yeah.
and that nice jacket you're wearing.
Yeah, the sweet Army jacket. Again, on Fox Sports Radio's YouTube page, foxsportsradio.com.
And on X.
At Fox Sports Radio. Yeah, exactly. Social media at Fox Sports Radio, at Covino and Rich. So any other last words about the Jets? Because that brings us usually to things that made you go, We do it every Monday here on the Covino and Rich Show.
Let's go, baby!
Things that make you go,
Things that make you go,
So this is where we get you involved, Fox Sports Radio Nation. There's no wrong answers, okay? It could be in the world of sports, preferably football, because we just got off this kick-ass weekend of football, heading into Monday Night Football. Any of your observations in the world of sports and entertainment, anything that made you say, anything that made you scratch your noggin. I'll start off with an easy one, because I thought it was noticeable. I mean, the game itself was great. We're going to obviously talk about that. But for someone that always talks about uniforms, I loved the Texans uniform last night. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it looks good.
Did you like it or no?
Different. I like it. That
Really?
metallic
But I
red.
feel like you have like a stronger opinion on these things.
I love alternate uniforms, and I think the Texans, they have a cool young quarterback.
That's
I think
what
they
I
have
mean.
a cool coach. They
I
have
feel
a
like
cool uniform.
It matches more of the young vibe, young quarterback. I like the look. Hey, they fell short, but I thought they looked cool with those uniforms. Danny G was like, they look like Jolly Ranchers.
Listen,
I
think
didn't know if that was like a
no,
good
and I
thing.
said I wasn't mad at it. They've been accused in the past of having a boring uniform.
Yes.
There was nothing boring about that
I thought it
alternate
looked cool.
jersey.
Yeah,
It looked like
listen.
some XFL sort of uniform.
All
Like,
it takes, as I said, is always a winning attitude, a couple star players, and you can make a previously boring team cool pretty
But
quick.
you and DB are the first guys always to bring up, oh, they're busting out these uniforms. You didn't even mention those. I saw
I mean,
those. I was like, whoa, those are sweet.
The Jags had a white helmet. There was, teams are being able to experiment a little more. As long as they don't go crazy like the NBA, where every day it seems like a different jersey.
Right, yeah.
I think the NFL has it pretty good right now, and
It's noticeable.
It's hard to argue that that's not a sweet uni.
You got to feel a little cooler once in a while busting those out. But again, they didn't win them, but it did look good. I thought so anyway.
Well, I want to save some of the bigger storylines
Yeah.
like the 49ers, the Chiefs,
Oh, that's why we
the
opened it up, too.
Cowboys. So, your phone calls and feedback at 877-99 on Fox.
So story number one is Rich was wrong about the Jets.
Yeah, I'll give you a light one because I'm like, how did this happen? Just when you thought they couldn't get worse, bring in a new interim coach and you bring the Riz. And how did the Falcons lose to the Saints? The Falcons, I thought, were ready to just roll.
Dude, not only that,
Right to the postseason.
Saints would have beat them even worse if Kamara didn't drop that pass. I don't know if you saw it, but dude, Carr, he made some nice passes that were dropped. The score would have been even worse. So the Saints would have won by a lot more if that didn't happen.
So I look at that and say,
Saints just played a good game. I don't know how.
it's
Made me say,
that team confuses the hell out of me because,
Right.
Danny, do you remember in the beginning of the season we all said, worst team of the league, the Saints. They started at 2-0 and put like 40 spots up.
You and Bayer said that.
Yeah, and then
Dude, it would have been 27-17 had those passes been dropped.
they lose 7 in a row, and then they win yesterday. But against a team, like we said, there are people talking about the Falcons are about to take that next step to the elite of the NFC, and they
It's gotta
lose.
be just taking your foot off the pedal. of
Division
certain games.
game.
The Saints step up. The Falcons don't step on it. They don't prepare the same way. Even if it's subconscious, right? They're going through all the motions. Oh, no, we take every game serious. Of course, styles make fights and styles make games, but you got to imagine that the Falcons just didn't expect the Saints to bring it the way they did.
Didn't
And they
you?
did.
Didn't you think too in that early window because so many of the games
Yeah.
were close and exciting? Game management in the fourth quarter was so important yesterday.
Oh, no doubt.
In,
No
in-
doubt.
in all the games, you mean?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Oh my
and that's
God.
where having an Andy Reid type brain on the sideline really puts you over the top.
And by the way, not everybody watches Red Zone, but if you were watching Scott Hansen, Red Zone, Danny G does
Yeah.
it was like every game was sort of wrapping up around the same time.
That's
It was
always
like,
exciting.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yes.
It was crazy play, crazy ending after.
Yeah, although Andy Reid was one of the guys standing there having a nervous stomach because the Broncos had the last drive
That was wild.
of the game. And I'm thinking, I swear to God, I said this out loud, better punch that into the end zone. You better get that into the end zone. And instead, it felt like they were just lining up the field goal to be in the center there.
That's a great things that make you go, all the final plays and endings of these games were pretty exciting yesterday. Yeah,
So-
fourth quarter was exciting yesterday.
Just back to the Saints for a second. That a big win for reporters everywhere because the headlines and puns using Riz are out of control. Nobody beats the Riz. The Rizzler comes out in New Orleans, like everyone. So hey, you know what? Got to give props to Darren Rizzi, his debut, a win over a team that people thought was about to really take that next step. People were saying, well, the Falcons, weak division, and now especially with Tampa losing a lot of their wide receivers and, Carolina being bottom of the barrel and the Saints, same thing. People thought now's the time where the Falcons were just going to take off. Not so fast. I mean, geez, Saints, they're not going anywhere, but what an odd win, in my opinion. You brought up Coach Andy Reid and the Chiefs and the inability for Denver to try to punch that in. Does this just set up for what I'm hoping is the ultimate letdown? I'm pulling for this to be like the Brady undefeated Patriots where everything's so perfect for Mahomes and Kelsey, and I hope come playoff time someone spoils their perfect season because That's a loss. Danny, in fact, it was Dan Byer who
Yeah,
called
but
it. DB.
winning teams get breaks like that.
But
Just happens.
DB called it. He goes, I said, Dan, what do you think the Chiefs will trip up? And he's like, probably a division game. And it was right there.
Yeah, I actually was thinking the same thing.
I was like, Dan Byer's a visionary.
Yeah, I thought it could be Denver against Danny's Raiders maybe in a couple of weeks. We'd seen it. Plus, it was such a trap game for them. Short week off the overtime win. They got Buffalo next week.
Yeah.
And no disrespect, like Denver, it sucked that they lost yesterday, but that defense is legit. So
Yeah.
it was all there, but except the special teams.
Oh, man. And I felt like there were 5 different guys that could come in for that block. Like, did
Yeah,
the
I know.
line freeze? Like, oh!
It was so bad. Even on my Sunday show, we were identifying. We weren't giving credit to Leo Chenal. We were giving it to Karlaftis because there were so many guys in on the play that to make it.
Honestly, if you would have told me it was an Impractical Jokers bit and Sal and Joe and all those guys lined up on the offensive line, like it seemed like, honestly, it seemed so outmatched. Like,
that was it.
How could they get that much pressure?
You thought the game
On a
was
field goal.
over. Yeah, everyone thought the game was over. Yeah,
was-
wow.
There
What
was
the
like,
hell?
it did feel like there were 4 Chiefs that could have been in there.
That was amazing.
Just-
amazing to see. The streak continues for
Right.
the Chiefs.